Hey out there, Internet. It's me, Joe, and I'm back with another video for you. Today we're going to do a couple for you. This is a canvas. It's a 9 by 12 canvas. I like using canvas. It gives you a little bit more stability when you're painting. It's also a little easier to hang up on the wall. So we're going to start with that. And we're going to go with a portrait like this instead of going landscape. So we're just going to do a single planet. We're just going to put that right up here, right at the very top of the canvas. And just like I'd like to do, I like to mark out where that planet's going to be. We're just going to do this with one of the colors I got handy here. There we go, and there's where a planet's going to live. So the first color, the base one I'm going to put down, is one I just used, and this is called Satin Lagoon. That's another Rust-Oleum color. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click that in there, right there, just like that. Alright. The next one I'm going to use is a Krylon color. I don't generally use a lot of Krylon, but I'm going to use it this time. This is called Satin Peacock Blue. I like that. I think these two colors go well together, so we're just going to go like that. Let's give it a full coverage right there. Then I'm going to take a piece of newspaper, I'm going to sprinkle that on up, and then we're going to just put it down, give it some swipes, just like that, and peel it back. Get a little light here. I'm going to turn that off, see if that helps. Oh, yeah, you can see that a little bit better. We're going to get a couple dabs here on the edges. And then to add a little bit of color, I'm going to go ahead and take some real orange. And the way I actually got that cleared up is if you ever have paint cans you can't tell what's in it, you can get yourself some Goof Off, take a little piece of sponge, and it wipes right off. So Goof Off can help with some of those shiny surfaces if they get some spray paint on them. So I'm just going to really lightly go right over that, like that. And again, with our newspaper, you want to do this one really quick because you don't want that setting too much. Just swipe, 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 swipe. Let's see how that comes out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that right there. A couple more swipes. We're going to take a little bit more off right there. I am liking how that's looking. Give it a few dabs to randomize it up a little bit. And there we go. And the next step, of course, is we're going to take our white. We're going to leave it like this. I'm not going to give it a lot of cloud cover. I'll use a little bit of a sponge to do that in a couple minutes. We're going to go ahead and give that a little shine up on the top. And then we're going to put a shadow right here with some black. Just like that. Okay. So now I'm going to take a sponge and I'm going to take some white paint. I'm going to take one of my extra bowls here. Just take your white, just kind of spray it right on in there. Now obviously you can use a little piece of card or just a piece of newspaper. I like doing that. We're just going to put a couple little bits of cloud and a couple random spots here. Just like that. And give it a little more paint on there. Now you could do this with some paper towel if you want, bits of rag. You could probably even get away with doing it with a little bit of newspaper. Okay. So on the bottom here, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a water feature right in here. So we're going to take our base color, which is again that Satin Lagoon from Rust-Oleum. We're just going to paint it right in there, just like that. Okay. Then on the middle right there, I'm going to take some of that Krylon color here, the Satin Peacock. I'm going to paint that in there too. Then we're going to do a couple little streaks of our orange. And finally on the very edges, I'm going to take, this is a midnight blue. I think that'll look better on the water. We're going to, right on the edges like that. And you do want to remember, when you're doing anything in water, put a little bit of white in there, right? Just going to white there and white there. And to do anything with water, you start at the top, you take a finger or two, and you just give it some swipes. So we're just going to swipe it. Swipe, 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 swipe. Just like that, okay? And you can start back at the top, bring it back around. Okay. So we're going to let this dry up, and it is drying pretty quick. It's pretty warm in here right now, so we might actually be able to move right on to the next step. Yeah, we can move right on to the next step. So I'm going to take my bowl again. Here we go. We're going to take the, oh, I got my other bowl right here. We're going to take the bowl. We're just going to pop it right down there, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a canvas I've been using for a while. It's just kind of a straight edge. You're going to want to block off your colors right there. Now obviously, if I do that, you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to figure out something here so you can see what I'm up to. And I think this will work just fine like this. Yeah, that'll work just fine. I'm just going to lay it right against my tripod. Alright, and then I'm going to fill this whole area in, again with that midnight blue. And we're going to touch it up with some black. And we're just going to kind of go around, get that all in there just like that. Alright, I'm going to spray a little bit of black in there and kind of give it a little bit of depth. Alright. Then we're going to grab some berry pink. I think that pops really well whenever you're doing cool colors. If you contrast it with some brighter colors like this, just going to, just like that. And then we're going to take a little bit, with a little bit of red. We're going to do some poppy red. You can see a poppy red right there. We're going to go this way. Of course, that moved, which is okay. It's not going to hurt anything too much. Just going to put that right back down here. We're going to try at least. There we go. So the next step, and what I like to do, is I like to take my glitter paint right there. We're going to put this back right here. We're just going to do that some glitter right on there. Okay, and the last step, of course, you got to put some stars on that top section. Just by spraying some on your fingers, just flicking them in there, right? So this is okay right here because I'm going to put a little bit of a bit of fog on that with some white paint, and once everything dries up. Just a few stars. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to let this dry up a little bit before I move on to my next step on this particular piece. We're just going to pop that off right there. So there's that piece currently. All right. Now I'm going to take our standard poster board over here. We're just going to use a bit of poster board. Okay. So I'm going to move a couple things here. My paints are getting in my way. Okay. So we're going to go right back in with a bowl, right there. We're going to take I'm thinking a cup. We're going to do just a couple little planets here. Nothing too major. Like that. And then we'll take a trusty cap from some spray paint. We'll do a little guy right up here too. Okay. We'll aim this camera up so you can see what I'm up to. I'll move this back a little bit for you, just so you can see what's up. We'll get it in there. There we go. That should be good enough. We'll move that down just a little bit for you. So again, I'm going to kind of shade in what I'm going to be working on here. It's always good to make sure any dust that you might have picked up you brush off before you start painting. Just Alright, and there's our outline for the three. So for the big one, I think we're going to go, And we're going to use a trio of these, right? These are the shimmer metallic colors. So this one is your candy grape. I've got this blue one here. It's called Candy Blue Raz. The final one I've got here is a Candy Raz, which is a pink. All right, so we're going to go with the kind of purple one in the middle here. Just going to right on there, just like that. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really pick it up, but there's a lot of sparkle in this. You can kind of see it. Get a little bit of the glare from outside. I am painting during the day today. We're going to do this little one. We're going to do a little pink one right here. Give it a good shake. Right like that. I'll have to show you guys what it looks like when you paint on glass with something like this, because when you have a clear background, these colors come off as translucent, which is a kind of cool feature. So you can kind of put something behind it, or you put it up against something that has light so the planet itself glows. So in the last one here, I'm going to use that blue color, right like that. So I'm going to get some newspapers ready. So I'm going to cover all three of these with white, and then I'm going to remove some layers as I go here. And white. Where did I put that white? There it is. So we'll start with the one on the left here, this pink one. As you see, it wants to come right up, because that's just kind of the nature of this paint. That's okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to give that a little twist, just like that. And it textures it out, gives it some kind of cloud cover there. And once we do our background, that's going to fill in real nicely. Next one, we're going to take care of the big one, right here in the middle. Just white all the way across. And again, we're going to take our paper here. We're just going to give it some big swipes. Just like that. Already drying to the page. That's okay though. There's no real mistakes doing this. Just like Bob Ross would say, there's only happy accidents. And then the last one over here, we're going to do the blue one. Just with that white again. And we're just going to... just like that. And the last step I'm going to do, just like I like to do, we're going to use just give all these a little bit of a shadow. We're going to do a little different. I'm going to give it the shadow over here, right? So we're going to whoop, like that. Shadow 1, shadow 2, and shadow 3. There you go. So that's this particular piece. And what I'm going to do on this one, the reason I left this big gap down here is once we do all our background stuff, we're going to paint a foreground on this one. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with that other one we were working on a little bit. But we'll let these paints dry, and then I'll come back with the rest of this video. We'll see you soon. Alright guys, we're going to get right back to it here. So we let this dry. It's not sticky anymore. We got a little bit of crackling right there. And that can happen with this type of paint when you paint it wet. And when you put your shadow on when the paint is still wet. But that's okay. I do like the way that looks. So we're going to go ahead and roll with it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to cover these just like we normally would. Just like that. So I'm kicking stuff over here. So I'm going to fill in this whole area with black and midnight blue. So we're going to start off with midnight blue. Ended up picking up another can of this yesterday. So we got plenty to work with here. Plenty to work with. So on the bottom here, right across here, I'm actually going to do a little bit more true navy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click that right here. See, it's a little bit of a lighter blue color. We're just doing the bottom, that's all. Not doing anything too too fancy here. I am going to come back over that. And I wanted to get that base down. And lastly, we're going to take matte black, your regular Rust-Oleum black. We're just going to fill in the gaps. It's kind of modeling out the sky a little bit, giving some depth rather than just solid black. There we go. All right. Then I'm going to take our white. Oh, there goes my anti-glare shield. That's okay though. So, that is not white. I can't remember where I put down my white. Oh, there it is. Right in the spot where I could find it. Here we go. We're going to go ahead, we're going to just spray it right in our hand. Give it some flicks. Now, alternatively, you can do the controlled pressure method by just pressing it very lightly. You don't really get any control over the size of the stars coming out when you do that, which is why I prefer doing the flick method. But you can do it however you like, whatever you think is the best for you. Just like I like to do, I like to take my glitter, just a Rust-Oleum glitter paint, and we're just going to give it a few blasts just to get some depth going. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to do some space gases here. We're going to go ahead, we're going to use our Krylon Sea Glass. This can has seen some use. So we're just going to go up, and then back. Alright, and then I'm going to use some berry pink on this. Pink makes a really good background gas. We're just going to loop that around like that. I'm going to take our sea glass. We're just going to hit this side right here. So that kind of shows through a little bit more. And one more time with the glitter paint. And finally, we're going to take our white one more time and get some of that white paint and just flick them right in there, another layer of stars in front of these space gases. The things we got going on here. Alright, now that we have that done, like I said, when you do that, you can just take some newspaper, dry your hands off a little quicker. We're going to take that navy blue again. So just gloss navy. We're just going to right on the bottom here. I'm going to cover up any of the stars or space gases we just did. Maybe give it a little bit of elevation on the end. Ooh, I just had a lid go ahead and clog. So that can happen with paint sometimes, it's not a big deal. Again, the goof off does help with that if you put it in an old can or something. But we're just going to steal a cap from someone else for now, just to get this done. Alright. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to take another bowl. We're just going to take some black. I'm going to take that black, we're just going to, right like that. Then we're going to find a brush. You can get little paint brushes at your local Dollar Tree or Dollar General for about $1 for a whole bunch of them. So it's just a little button. I'm going to go like that. Just a little bit on your brush. And you're just going to paint your trees, right? Now, it might not look like much yet, but it will once I'm done. Just paint on some trees. And just like us, trees kind of have their own skeletons. We're working on that. Again, nothing needs to be perfect on this. It's all about how you feel like you want to do it. Go ahead and extend that down a little bit. And the reason I'm not going all the way down into the foreground here, and I'm going to do some brush on there too, and I'll show you how I do that here in a few moments. just going to do some regular, just thick trunks, just like that. Some more limby type trees here. Yeah, I'm going to put a couple more thick trunks in here, just like so. So right now, probably doesn't look like a heck of a lot, but that's okay. Next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put that brush aside, and we're going to get ourselves some sponge. So this is, again, these are just the pack of sponges I got from the dollar store. Very inexpensive. You just rip off a little section of sponge for yourself. We're going to take some of our green colors. I got several greens. So we're going to take first that one. So this one is just our standard green color. This is called meadow green. We're going to use that. I've got a kind of a sandy color. This is actually called satin nutmeg. We'll have to find a cap for that. And finally, we're going to use some moss green right there. And for a little bit of depth, we're going to also use a little bit of sun yellow. Again, this is one of those cans that's just been seen a lot of use over the years. Or over the last year, I should say. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start off with our melody green. And just like before, we're just going to spray it right into the bowl. Just get ourselves some paint in there. And then we're also going to do the same thing with our moss green, right there. It's okay if the colors touch. So I'm just going to take my sponge. I'm going to use this I got a three-sided here. I'm going to use this side right here. See, I let the paints kind of meld together a little bit. I'm just going to dab that in there. We're just going to dab our trees on. Just a little bit of dab. We're not doing a whole lot. We're just dabbing our trees on. If you get some little bits floating around, that's okay. Won't hurt anything if that happens. We're just going to dab our trees on. Just like that. I'm going to save these big stalks for another spot in just a moment. Keep dabbing our trees on here. Right there. What I'm doing is I'm just picking up some paint with a brush just like that and dabbing them on. That's all I'm doing, just dabbing the trees on. Right. Now I'm going to take this clean side with these big tall stalks here. We're going to mix in some other greens. Let's see here. We're going to go ahead with the I'm going to go with some more moss green, just like this. Just filling up that bowl a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit of that sea glass I like to use for colors on the space gases. I'm just going to add a little bit, just to give it a little bit of life. And then lastly, we're going to put our meadow green back in there. Alright. We're going to take our unused section of sponge right there. And see, these are kind of melding together again, just like the last one. And that's okay. We want that. We're going to try to just dab in kind of your piney sort of trees here. Just dab in our pines. Just dab them in. And one more right over here. Alright. Now we are not done with these trees. We're going to add a little bit of shadow to these and maybe a little extra light. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, the next thing I'm going to do is we still have our sponge. We're going to take, and we're going to do just some ground clutter. And for the ground clutter, we're going to use this right here, this nutmeg. It's kind of got a dirt-looking sort of look. Just going to give myself a bit right there. I'm going to let it mix in with some of these other colors here. All right. We're just going to dry a little bit of excess. So we're just going to kind of just dab it right on in there like that. And as you can see, it's starting to really bring a little bit of depth to the piece here. Just going to keep dabbing them on in there. All right, like that. All the way to our edge. We can go all the way to the edge. We're just going to go over it one more time. And as you can see, it does add quite a bit of depth and ground clear. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom on these. Just all the way to the bottom. That's a lot of dabbing. If there's any colors you'd like to see me use in other videos, if you want to see me do some other stuff, you let me know. Next video I do is probably going to end up being a cityscape. So look forward to showing you those. I really enjoy doing those. And what I like to do with the cityscape is use some foreground, because it really gives some depth to your cityscape when you do that. Alright, so that I'm going to say is pretty good for the ground clutter. Bring it right up a little closer to the trees. Just like that. Just like that. Right. Okay, so I am going to use another piece of sponge here, because that one, I don't want it contaminating any white paint I use. Another little piece right here, just like that. We're going to grab our white, which I seem to have a hard time finding when it's on the table. But it's here somewhere. Oh yes, it's over here. And again, we're just going to spray some right in our bowl. Obviously, you don't have to do it the way I do it. This is something you should try yourself if it's something you've ever considered doing. And if you just like watching, I appreciate you watching. I'm just going to get some of that extra out, right? So I'm just going to use the edge of the bowl right there to get some of that excess out. And I did the shadows over on this side on these. So we're going to want our light over here. Just like that. Just like that. Just a little bit of star shine right on the trees here. Just like that. A lot of this is trial and error, and you are seeing my trial and error right now, because I don't normally put anything to increase the depth of the trees themselves. And I think I am enjoying the way that looks. Pretty happy with that. We are almost done with this piece. Last thing I'm going to do, I did not give these any shine on the planets. And if we look, you can see our shadow is right here on these. All of them match. So I'm just going to give them some blasts right there to give them some shine. Same thing there. And let me do one more right there. Let's see, where does this paint go? Alright, so here's a trick some people don't know. You can take your can of white paint. We're just going to flip it upside down. We're just going to give it a quick burst. Right, we're going to give it another burst right up here. And see, that can happen sometimes. As you can see, it went right over my trees. But that's okay, because it looks like it's getting a little bit of glare from that shooting star. So I'm going to go ahead and remove our cups. Look at that. I'm quite pleased with how that came out. So there you have it. And there's this piece, more or less done. So I'm just going to take the back of one of these brushes. I'm just going to give them my initials. Just like that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move this and give it a chance to dry. We're going to bring back the piece we started with. Put a couple finishing touches right on this. So here is that piece. And this is on canvas, this isn't poster board. So if you take This is just a canvas I've been working with. There's a piece that didn't come out the way I wanted it, but no use wasting something when I actually had a use for it. So I use this as kind of my straight edge. Now you can go to the hardware store and you can get yourself a proper straight edge. I just have not done that. So, see, I've got a little bit exposed right there still. I'm going to take our white once again. We're just going to, from a distance, spray right onto the back of the canvas here. All right? And see, it kind of gave us a little bit of a fog effect there. And that can happen sometimes right here. So I'm going to try to remove that. Even if it doesn't remove, it's okay. You just fade it right in. Just like that. See, we got a little bit of a fog effect. So what I am going to do to try to correct that a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think it looks fine. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take our black. We're going to take our black right here. And I'm going to just give this a little bit of foreground. Just a little bit of foreground. Just a little bit. And there's our foreground, right? And then again, we're going to take our paint bowl, I guess we can call it. I can actually put this down right here so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take our black again, right here. I'm just going to we're going to take that brush we were working with, if I can recall where I put it. Here it is, it's right here. Just going to take our brush, just like that, and we're just going to give it some trees here. We're not going to go any pine sort of trees or anything like that. We're just going to do some regular old trees here. Different heights, different little branches and limbs. I'm just going to paint them right in there. Just like that. This video is going to be pretty long. I'll see if I can edit it down a little bit. Otherwise, you might be in for the whole ride. Hope you don't mind. I'm happy to have you along. Next, we're going to take one of our greens. We're going to go with our meadow green again, right into the bowl here. Right on top of all the other greens we've been doing. Because it's okay if those greens mix. It'll actually look pretty good. And with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of that satin nutmeg, that beige color, right on top. And then we're going to give it a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. So again, we're going to take our sponge. This one has that white on there. And here's what's really nice about sponges. You don't really care about them too much because they're $1 for 4 of them. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to rip that bit off. All right. So now we just have that little bit of clean sponge. We're going to go right in and kind of swirl this around a little bit. Get our sponge going. We're just going to dab it right onto our trees, just like that. We'll dab, we'll dab. We're just going to dab the rest of them here. And we're almost done with this piece too. We'll add a little bit of ground clutter like we did on the last piece. Next video, we're just going to focus on one painting. We're not going to do two. But it's the weekend for me, and I figured why not do a little bit extra. So we're going to go back in right here with our nutmeg. I'm just going to give this a good old helping here. I'm going to go with the second side here, just to give ourselves some ground clutter. Just ground clutter right there. Right like that. And give ourselves a little bit more. Just some ground clutter. And see, it's picking up some of the green from the last layer. It's working out very nicely. But I think that does it. There's that piece done. So I'm going to take a little bit of clear coat, just so I can put my signature in here. Put it right here on the bottom corner. Oh, that is green paint. And that's okay. As Bob Ross once said, there are no mistakes, there are only happy accidents. And we can clean that up just with a sponge. Just like that. All right, see, it cleaned right up, no problem. we're going to take our green sponge again, back to the bowl. We're just going to touch that up, just like that. See? No harm, no foul. And we learned a thing about checking our paint color before we start spraying. Right, we're going to go back to our clear coat. That last one I used is actually, it's a dark forest green here, or dark hunter green, I should say. Okay, we're going to just hit this corner like that. We're going to take my brush I like to sign with, and we're just going to, just like that. Then we're going to take our clear coat right here. We're just going to give it some spray, right like this. Just like that. I'll pick this up for you, just so you can see it a little bit better. And there it is. Planet, a little bit of foreground, with a C right behind it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to upload a few times a week. And again, if you want to see some more different colors, maybe some different scenery, go ahead and comment below. Please, drop me a follow. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.